Welcome to the Middle School Speaks podcast. On today's episode, we will be discussing should sports be required in schools. Kids have been playing sports for thousands of years, like football, soccer, and basketball.
Hello, my name is Liam. I'm 12, and I think students should be required to do school sports.
My name is Sydney, and I think students should not be required to play sports.
Here's why I think it should be required. It'll help students get less screen time. According to the Fortune Well magazine, kids are spending the equivalent of a 40-hour work week on their devices.
Screen time is definitely a problem, but as students get better at their sport, they will probably get on traveling teams to play better teams, meaning they'll be on long car rides, long flights, which on those long car rides and flights, they'll more than likely be on their screens.
Really interesting, Sydney. I can see why that is true. However, have you thought about if they get interested in the sport, they can practice and get better?
I agree. If they get interested in sport, it could be really good for them. But what if their genetics are generally weak? Because some kids just aren't as strong as everyone else, meaning they could lead to bullying. And bullying's already a big problem in the U.S. Bullying Free NZ states students who are bullied often experience depression and low self-esteem that may last a lifetime.
Interesting thought. But 9 million kids now are out of shape. Kids' obesity has gone up majorly throughout the years.
Again, I agree. Obesity is a rising problem in the U.S. The sports shouldn't be what we do, since being overweight is definitely a big problem, but studies have shown that actually being underweight tends to be a bigger problem. In sports, especially like track and gymnastics, if you eat a lot, then you might be overweight and lose. So kids could start worrying about the weight way too much. Sports can cause a lot of stress. Stress can be caused by mental, physical, and emotional strain. Stress could lead to worsened anxiety and depression. And also, a lot of students, especially in high school, already have a lot of stress due to they're in high school and they're about to go on to another big step in their life.
Interesting thought. But this can help with stress too because they don't have to be worrying about their weight and how people think.
If they worry about the weight a little too much, this could lead to them to stop eating. Like I said earlier, being underweight and malnutritious could be really bad. It could even get them to have an eating disorder called anorexia, which basically means they just stop eating entirely.
They could take medicine, so it could help them gain weight and eat more.
What about the side effects of the medicine? Since medicine, of course, tends to have side effects like drowsiness and making them feel tired, so they might have to go to bed earlier, which could affect their studying time, and social time, which is very important. And maybe if they take in the morning, it can make them feel drowsy throughout the school day.
They could take a little bit first, and then if they feel good with it, they could move on and take more medicine throughout.
What about the price of the medicine? Medicine tends to be really expensive, especially if it gets high in demand.
That is true. Medicine has been expensive nowadays, but they could borrow it or start off to get cheap medicine.
Not everyone has money like we do. Some schools can't afford sports, and parents wouldn't have time to drive them since they might be in either poverty or working class.
That is a really good point. But they can make it within the school day so it would be easier for parents and students.
So would that affect other kids' extracurricular activities like in music and arts?
The activities would probably have to be pushed later in the day. Kids have been way more lazier in this generation than a couple decades ago. This is why, because all kids back in the day went outside more than kids now.
Again, I agree, but kids are mostly being lazy due to technology. Most kids, even if required to do sports, won't be trying, so they'll be more of like wasting their day outside, which would be good normally, but they might just become even more lazy when they get home. Say we require sports, how would we govern it? Would it be by state, government, or school?
It could be decided by the state because a lot of other school requirements are decided by the state.
I think a compromise with schools should try more to get students to play sports, but we should definitely not require it. But you did make some really good and interesting points, Liam.
You too. You made a lot of really amazing points and made me think a lot on them. Thank you for listening. Do you guys think that school sports should be required? That's all for this episode of Middle School Speaks. Thank you.